on YouTube. And again, that's something else I'll send you a link to, right? I'll send you an email and I'll send you a link to the video that we did, the recording that's happening right now. So again, once you get access to Canvas and so on, you'll notice you have your interface design class. Again, this first week we're going to be just learning basic image things like it's in the list. Did everybody get the list? Somebody came in late. So again, these are the topics we'll be covering right now.
Hey,
Yeah, I'm going to give you one. Don't worry, it's good.
not just that. I need a track pad of some kind. I didn't bring one, so yeah.
Yeah, I don't have one for you. Did you request one from somebody?
No. I have one at home, but I didn't.
Either bring it or request it through the DESP office or something like that. We used to have one over here on the computer on the end. Might still be there. It's not a track. No, I don't know what they did. We did have one. So no, bring your own if you could. Okay, again, you'll notice there is one that says Photoshop practice right here. We'll do in class today. You'll have to download and uncompress the file. So often in this class, I'm going to be putting files on Canvas for you to download and uncompress. So when we compress files, we can grab a group of files and put them into one. Once you download them, you have to uncompress them, and then you can work with a whole group. So if you look right here, it says, need to download these files. They're compressed. And again, I already made a video that you can watch on what I'm doing here already. But we're recording this again too, so we'll have two videos. So if you click here, usually what I can do is I can save. If I right click, I know these mice don't look like they have a right click, but they do. If I right click on there, I could save the compressed file on my desktop so I know where it's at. Again, in Firefox, I'm in Firefox, it says need to download these files. If I right click on it and save link as, you can then designate where you want to save it instead of it going into downloads folder, because by default it wants to go in the downloads folder. I can put it on the desktop and then I can hit save. And once it's on the desktop, it's much easier to deal with because it's out on the big area. And if I go to uncompress it, I can uncompress it on the desktop by going to the desktop, so I can minimize. So when you're working in Mac or you're working in Windows, you can have multiple programs open at the same time. And in this case, if I want to minimize Firefox, I can go up here where it says Firefox and say hide Firefox right there. See that? So again, if you want, the file that I need is on the desktop. It's being covered by the program Firefox. So I need to hide Firefox so I can get to the desktop. But I don't want to quit Firefox. I want to keep it running. To do that, I go underneath Firefox, hide Firefox right there, or you notice it says Command H right there. And it hides it. And of course, I'm looking for my zip file that is on the desktop right here. And let me put it on the chip here for the... Copy it on this chip here. Okay. Nope. Hold on. Trying to get it out. Okay. It's I don't know, lesson 1 file zip. Random ones that I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, download it. Eject this. Right click on it. It's just taking its time, that's all. Okay. You can minimize it. you see the zip files? Okay, we'll uncompress them all together right now. So to uncompress those so we can work with them is if we open them up by just double clicking on it, it'll uncompress it into a folder. So if you just double click, it should make a folder. And if you open up the folder, you'll see we have some products. Okay, these are my famous products here. We're just going to work with them because you know, if you are doing any kind of designs, you're most likely working with products. You put things in squares on websites or in apps, or you put them in round and so on. So I'm going to open all these products up in Photoshop. A quick way to open all of them up in Photoshop is to select them all and then right click and say open in Photoshop. So I right click a lot, as you can see. A quick way to open these up in Photoshop, and I'm going to show you this right now, is to hold the left mouse down and drag over top of all three of them. So I'm holding the left mouse down. I'm dragging over all three products. I'm going to let my finger up. I'm going to right click on one of them and say open with, and I'm going to say Photoshop. So get used to doing things like that. That's a quick way of opening all three of these. You don't want to have to open Photoshop and then go file, open, file, open, file, open. It takes too long. So again, if you select all of them, right click and say open with, it'll open them all up. And again, I do this all the time. These are products, and I have to scale them, move them, combine them all the time. These are basic things. Notice whenever you open multiple files in Photoshop, you see them as tabs across the top. Okay, tabs across the top. The other thing to keep in mind is this one is a JPEG. You can see the format over there. It doesn't say, oh yeah, it does say JPEG up there, but this one says PNG, and that one says JPEG. Okay, so one of the things about, and let's just talk basic bitmap understanding right now. Erase this for a moment. And get my, I swear I've gotten pen too. So, basic bitmap understanding looks red. So, we're talking pixels, the first word that you see up there. Pixel is a term, and let me get black, I don't like red. Pixel is a term that's short for picture element. That's sort of what this means. Picture element is what pixel is short for. All the images in here are made of tiny dots, of course, and each one of those is a pixel. Now, depending upon the format, will depend upon can it have a transparent layer or not. So in this case, the first one we see there is a JPEG. Now, a JPEG is either going to be in what we call 24-bit melodies. What does that mean? It means it has 8 bits of red, 8 bits of green, RG, and then B. 8 bits of blue. So that is where you get your 24-bit, and then each pixel in a JPEG can be a combination of these, which is actually 16 million colors. What I mean by that is it could be one of 16 million different colors. The downfall of a JPEG, though, is it doesn't have transparent. Notice, see the white right here? This white is not transparent. You can't take this object and put it on top of something else without getting rid of the white. So how do we do that? Well, if we jump to the PNG for just a minute, I'm going to jump over to the PNG for just a second. You'll notice you'll see a checkerboard pattern behind this product. See the checkerboard pattern behind this product? What that is telling you is it's transparent. I can take this product and copy it and put it on top of something else without having to see the wire on the outside. So the PNG, and let me erase this a little bit. The PNG actually is a 32-bit image, which has 8 bits of red, 8 bits of green, 8 bits of blue, but it also has alpha. And I don't think I wrote that down as one of your vocabulary words there, but 8-bit of alpha. What is an alpha is a transparent layer that allows the image to have a transparent channel. I don't know, some of you in Gene's class, you all might have used channels. You love to use channels, I know that. Okay, well, there's an 8-bit channel that's attached to this that is transparent that allows this to be transparent. So the image is colored, so it has red, green, and blue, but it also has transparent, and that's what makes it. So that's what beauty of PNG, right? So you see those formats at the bottom of the screen there. You got JPEG, you got PNG, and so on. So let's make a screen, and we're going to put all these products on that screen. So let's just say somebody says to you, we're making a website, and the banner needs to be 1,200 pixels across by 900 pixels high. That's a typical hero banner. There's a term they use to describe in web design, the giant big graphic that goes at the top of a web page. They call it a hero image. Hero images typically are 1,200 across by 900 pixels, and we're using the word pixels. So we measure things in pixels, not inches. I know when you're looking over there at the printer over there, it's 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. Okay, when we're talking web design, app design, and things like that, everything's kind of measured in pixels. So common one would be 1,200 pixels, like I said, by 900 pixels, a hero image. So we're going to take and make a hero image and add all 3 products to the hero image. To do that, we're going to make a new file, blank one. To make a new file in Photoshop that has specific sizes, we go underneath File, New. So try this in Photoshop if you can. Say File, New. And we're going to go, and notice it says inches over here. We don't want inches, do we? We want pixels. And we're going to do, of course, I don't think it really matters there, but pixels here. So over here, and we can type in any size you want, 1,200 pixels wide by 900 pixels high, and then the resolution is 72. It's okay to leave it at 72. A little bit later on, we'll learn a little bit more. What 72 means is 700 dots or pixels per square inch, and it's kind of by square inch. That's why it says pixels, inches. So 72 is kind of the standard. Later on, we'll learn where you might want to use more or less. But that's really not going to affect us right now. But again, a typical hero banner on a web page would be 1,200 by 900. That's a pretty big hero image, but in addition, you'll notice it says RGB color and it says 8-bit here. Remember that? Okay, so we talked about bits over there. 8-bit RGB, so each one has there. The background is white. Now, if you want to go with the alpha for the background and not have white, you can actually change that and it'll say transparent. Oh no, it doesn't give you transparent. I thought it did. Let's just leave it white for now. How about that? We'll change it anyways. Oh, there is an advanced option. Let's not even go there. What's that?
Scroll down in like within the drop down menu. You scroll down a little. Yeah.
There's more for that?
Yeah.
Oh, there's a transparent. Thank you. My screen has a different resolution than yours because it has a certain size per the projector. Okay, we can use transparent then. And then hit create. And it gives you 1,200 pixels across by 900 high, and then you have your transparent background. Okay, so now we're going to take our products and put them in here, scale them down. So we're going to use our scaling, and then we'll add some effects to them, then we'll make a nice background. And see? Okay, so we have a nice big background here. So pixels we talked about. We didn't talk about vectors yet. We did talk about dimension. Dimensions would be the pixels that I talked about, the 1,200 by 900. We did talk about RGB, red, green, and blue. We haven't done opacity yet. We'll do that soon. So let's talk about bringing the products in. So you'll notice I have 3 product tabs at the top up here. So let's go to the first one, the one that says straight HD 950 straight product JPEG. This one. So go click on this one. So this one's a pretty big product, and you say, well, how do I know how big it is? Well, I took the photo, so I know it's big. But besides that, if I want to measure the dimensions of the image and see when it's starting out, you can always measure the dimensions of the image by using image size. If you go under the image pull-down menu up there and go to image size, it'll tell you what the current pixel dimension is of the image. And so if I go under, again, image size right there, it'll tell you right now, and it's in inches here, you'll see inches, but if we change it to pixels, change the dimensions to pixels, you'll notice it says the width is 1,169 pixels wide by 257, or 2517 pixels wide at 300 dpi. Whoosh! And notice also it tells you the size of the image. Okay, 8.42 megabytes. Whew. Can you imagine trying to download that off the internet and make a really slow app? So another really important skill we're going to have to learn in this class is how to compress files so that they're small. Because people are surfing the internet with their phone, right? Or they're looking at an app with their phone. You know, I need to compress them, optimize that, and put them on my app or something. So keep that in mind. This is a good way to see size and stuff. So we can cancel there. Okay, so I want to get this product and put it into my other document, but I don't want the white background. So, I mean, we could sit there and use all the Photoshop tools to try and get rid of the white background. Whoosh, way too much work. And, you know, if we use the magic wand, it's great. I love the magic wand. I do it all the time. But I just got to point out now that it's not the best, because one of the problems with using the easy selection tools, and I know some of you don't know Photoshop yet, okay. There's easy selection tools, and what a selection tool does is allow you to select a color or select part of the image. The problem with the easy ones is that there's a jagged edge here, okay, and it tends to really make the edges jaggier, if that makes any term, jaggier. And when you try and copy it and put it somewhere else, the edges are really kind of choppy. So recently, what I've been doing is using more advanced tools like the pen tool and stuff to select objects. And it really comes down from the package designer. Because at the company I work with, we make packages of these products. And, you know, sometimes I take the photos and I need to give them the files, and usually I'm kind of quick and, I'm just using Magic Wand. But lately he's been complaining. He says, like, you know, really, the edges are way too fuzzy, you know, because the resolution is really high. Because in a printing, you have to use really high resolution compared to the screen. And so I've been using lately some of the more advanced tools. This one to select the edges instead of using the simple ones. But today we'll use the simple ones. Just to point that out to you. There's other ways of doing it. The one I'm going to use is actually the magic wand. I know you don't love it, but some of us do. It's this one right here. It's the second one on the right side. So if you put your cursor up here towards the toolbar, again, this is the toolbar right here in Photoshop. And if you put your cursor up here towards the toolbar, you'll notice there's one called Magic Wand. What I'm going to use the Magic Wand to do is I'm going to use it to select the white area. So I'm going to click on the tool that says Magic Wand. I'm going to come over and click on the white area, which is the white area, not on any of the color. I'm going to click with my left mouse on the white area. Notice it puts these things in. If you've ever done a tutorial in Photoshop, they sometimes call these marching ants. These are called marching ants. That means that I've just selected the white. But of course, I don't want to copy the white and put it into my untitled document. What I want to do is I want to select the product. So how I do that is I'm going to flip the selection, and that's called invert. And I know I didn't put that down as one of your vocabulary words, but to invert it, I go underneath the pull-down menu that says Select at the top. See it there at the very top? It's called Select. And if I say Inverse, it'll select the opposite of what I clicked on. So since I clicked on the white, I want it to select the opposite. So if I say Inverse, you'll notice the Magic Wand will then be selecting the product. So a great way of selecting, I do selection all day long, so you're going to get used to that. Selecting all day long. The quickest, easiest way, if you have a solid color background like that, to select the solid color and then flip it to select the opposite. Now, the magic key on the keyboard to copy is what? Command C, or if you're a Bill Gates person, Control C, right? So I'm going to go to the keyboard now. Let's go to the keyboard and look at it. You'll see there is a command key. We're going to use that one a lot. So I'm going to hit Command C at the same time. Command C for cat. Now, again, the document across the top is tab. See how the tab, and I have one untitled, right? That's the blank one I made, right? See, it says untitled on the very end there. If I go over to that one that's at the very end there, untitled, I can then paste my document. Now, before I paste, what I want you to do is make sure you have the Move tool selected, which is this one up here at the very top. See the one that's at the very top, the one on the very, that's the one that moves and scales things. So I'm going to make sure I have that selected, so when I paste it, it's going to be bigger than the size. I have to shrink it down. I'm going to scale it down to fit in this window. To do that, I'm going to hit Command V, and you'll notice, oh, it's too big. So how can I scale it down? Well, you'll notice at the very top up here, there's something called Show Transform Controls. Show Transform Controls. If I click on that right there, you'll notice it puts some dots along the outside. These little dots, you see them are on the outside. What that means is then I can grab one of those dots and start scaling the image down. So I can grab a dot. If I hold my left mouse down, I can make it smaller, and I can move it around. I can make it smaller, and if you hold the Shift key down, it won't get in. It will keep it in proportion. So I want you to see if you can scale it down. I'll come and help you, and we're going to do all three products and put them in there. When you're done scaling it down, go and click on the Move tool, and it'll ask you if this is what you want to do, and you say yes, apply. I don't know why it's doing that, but there it is. So see if you can do that. Again, copying from one document and putting it in the other one. Hit OK for me. So use click here. Oh no, that's not the actual. I got it. Close the background. Now click on the white. There you go. Then, because it was on a certain layer one. It's okay. We'll practice layers. Go under Select, Inverse, the third, fourth one, and then copy as Control or Command C. Command, hold the command. Okay, there you go. And then transform. Go to this tool, and then transform. And then you can scale and move. You got it small. You guys got it small back here. You got it on there. Okay, good.
I don't have my Canvas ID with me, and I know this stuff though, I understand. But also I'm completely out of context as to what my assignment is for when I go home because I got it late.
I understand. I told your mother to read all the instructions.
Just send a message to me then.
I will send you a message over the weekend. You know that. That's what I said. And all the instructions plus a video of what I'm doing is online. Okay, let's do another product. Again, this one is pretty easy, the second one, the MTX Final Photo, this one right here. Because this one already has a transparent background, so we don't have to do anything with the Magic Wand tool or anything, right? So here's a quick way to do this one. A quick way to do this one, hit Command A. Command A selects everything in there. You'll notice it selects all. Command A selects all. Command C is copy. Let's go over to our untitled. Again, same thing, untitled, and then hit Command V, and we can scale that one down. Try and make it around the same size. So see if you can scale that one down. Then when you're done scaling, whenever you're done scaling, make sure you hit the this Move tool right there. Boom. Okay, so now we have two products. We have two products. Okay, now we need one more. Now the other one's a little harder because it has a drop shadow. Yes? If you're using the Move tool, you see there's some transform tools there. And then All of them are under window.
So are these little circle things, are they the same scale then? Like the same?
Yes.
I would have it. Okay.
So if you're trying to match two products,
Yeah.
the circle things are the same
Yeah.
on both products. Okay, let's try the last product. The last product. Again, this one's called a Sonic. The challenge with this one is it has a shadow along the edge there. But of course, that shadow works nice because it makes it look like it's 3D a little bit. You know, I still struggle with product photography, but this one I just took about over the summer, so it's not a very old photo. But it's not bad. So again, I'm going to try and bring the shadow a little bit with it. So I'm going to select again with the magic wand. Let's just cheat a little bit. Let's use the magic wand again, select the white area. Now if you want to select more, you'll notice that it didn't, this is going to look kind of ugly. So again, I use the magic wand. If you can remember where to find the magic wand, it's under the second one there. If you want to add to a selection or subtract from a selection, you can use keyboard commands. So I clicked once with the magic wand, but I want to get rid of some of this down here. So to do that, I'm going to hold the shift key down and then click in this area and it'll add to the selection. Watch how I do this. Watch how I do this. If I, using the magic wand, I hold the shift key down, you'll see a little plus adds to my magic wand icon, the tool. And if I click in this area, you notice how it's selected more. Did you see that? Maybe even some of this under here. Not too much, just a little bit. Oh, a little bit more there. Oh, look at that. So I was able to select more by using the shift key and the magic wand again and clicking it and a little bit more, and it added more. And now, of course, I need to inverse this and copy and paste just like we've done already. So again, to inverse my selection is underneath Select, Inverse, selects the product again. And then again, we just do the same thing we've already done. Copy, go to our untitled document here, and then paste. And then scale it down like we did before. Remember this transform tool. So copy and paste again. Command C, Command V to paste. And we'll put our product next to here. It is a little smaller product than those other ones, so you can, it can be like that. When you're done scaling, always click on the move tool. Always click on the move tool. So there you go. We have 3 products all together with a transparent background, ready to make a background, and then we'll add some effects to them. But undo.
Yeah, I'm doing
It is under edit. Oh, hit escape on the keyboard. Escape. And then go under step backwards. And then step backwards. That goes back in time.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
Okay, so it's always, so if you want to go back in time, like if you made some mistakes and you want to go back in time, under edit is undo, but also there's edit, undo backwards, and it keeps going back in time. Okay, so back in time.
The same like Command Z.
Yeah, Command Z is for once though.
Oh, for once.
And then, so Command Z will do once, but to go back in time, you have to go under the, whatever the one I just showed you, the backwards, right, or something like that, right? I think it was. Step backwards. They'll go multiple times. Command Z only does one. Okay, if I got 3 products. So if you worked at a company, this is typically what you would be doing a lot. I mean, it's not creative, it's not artsy, but you know, you get paid money to do that. That's the important thing, right? Okay. You could, you know, I was a designer for many. When I was 19 years old, I started working as a designer at a studio, right? And you know, I've been doing things like this. And at night, I would do art, do presentations. I've sold art in galleries, but you know, during the day, you gotta do something to make money, to pay for your habit of painting and doing other things, right? Your photography. So it's great to be artistic and stuff, but you know, companies will pay you to do just what we did here, you know. So keep that in mind. So let's make a nice background. One of the words that we have down there is called a gradient. Now, gradients are a great way to add dimension to something. And what I mean by dimension, it tends to give it depth sometimes, because gradients are something we see in the sky, right? The gradient in the sky from the blue sky sometimes and stuff like that. So gradients can add sort of depth sometimes. So notice how there's not a layer though. I think if you remember before when I had the layers up there, I said that we had 4 of them. I had 3 products and a background. And if you notice over here, there's only 3. So we need to add another. If you do not see layers on your screen, all these windows that you see in the program can be found under Window at the top up here. So at the very top, pull-down menu that you see at the very top up here, if I go under Window, you'll see all of them are here. So if you want to bring one up or hide one, you can go under Layer, Window, Layer, it'll pop up. So if you do not see any of these, and sometimes they're jammed over here, so you might have to see, oh, it's way over here. If it's jammed over here and you want it to be floating, you can click on the word itself and drag it out. See that? So if it's jammed with something else over here, you can grab it and drag it out. Okay, so again, under Window is where all the pop-up, and you see there's so many of them there in Photoshop. Whoosh, there's a lot to it. Okay, but we're doing the basic stuff. Okay, again, I'm going to make a new layer to add a background. To make a new layer to add a background, you'll see at the bottom of the layer window is some special tools down here. You see them? So the one to add a new layer is next to the trash can. It looks like a little square with a little tab right there. If you click on that, it'll make a new layer. So let's click on that. And it'll make a new layer. Now, one of the problems that it does, though, is it makes the layer on top. So if I add color here, it's going to cover all these. So I'm going to, again, I'll click here, and I'm going to name this too, so I know it's the background. So to call it background, you can double click on the text right there and give it a name. Naming things is important, keeps you organized. So if I click on this twice, it should turn it blue. So click twice with the left mouse, and then you can say background. Now to put it under the other layers, you can actually simply drag it. So once you're done typing a name in, I can put my cursor next to the word there, and I can hold the left mouse down and drag underneath. Notice I can move them around in here. I can move it around in the layer window. So I'm going to go all the way down here to the boom and drag it to the bottom. So you can drag it all the way down to the bottom. So again, you can drag things to reorder them in there. You're going to have things in groups. In fact, when we start making interfaces that have, you're going to have 100 layers easily. Some of the nice things about having multiple layers is you can group them together into groups. And then again, you can duplicate a group as well. So my little example before where we had a, kind of a menu option, you can have all the stuff in the menu in one group and then duplicate the group and then just change the content. So let's make a gradient. The gradient for this is right here. If we count down on the left side of the toolbar, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 down, see one called the gradient tool. In the gradient tool, notice how by default, since I had a blue in here before, I put a blue to white. See that? You can change the colors at the top up there. Whenever you're using any of the tools in Photoshop, they have options up here. And right here, there's a big kind of rectangle area. If you hold the mouse down, you can see there's pre-made ones in there. There's a bunch of pre-made. You got the black to white, the red to green, you got the purple to orange. Oh, I love the purple orange one. Do that. And so on. So if you like one of those pre-made ones, you can choose one of those pre-made ones. The white to blue, this first one is not too bad. And to use it, you just come over to the screen and you drag a line. The bigger you drag a line, you can do a short line, longer line. Again, after you choose the tool and choose your color, to add it, you can go on angles. I'm just clicking and dragging a line And just holding the left mouse down, and you'll see you'll get a nice kind of great. That's pretty nice right there. And again, if you look at it, the gradient kind of gives it depth, doesn't it? There's like a little bit of space that looks up there. They're not just sitting there floating there. Well, they are floating, but did you see the gradient? Okay. Another common thing that we do is we might want our product to stand out from the background a little bit, and one way to do that is to add some effects to the product. Some of them might be a drop shadow. So a common thing, we use drop shadows on text, we use drop shadows on a lot of things, even a material design. If you've ever, who has Android? Anybody have Android? Android phone? Of course, Android has its own design philosophy called the material design. And if you look closely at the material design, it has a slight drop shadow on pretty much every object to make it feel like it's 3D and coming off the page. So you can simulate that 3D drop shadow effect. Like I'm going to put a drop shadow, and you can see I photographed a little bit there, but for this product, let's do the middle one right here, the MTX. For the middle product, and you might want to even name your layers, but I know this is. And if you don't know which one is which, you can always turn the eyeball on and off. There's like a little eyeball in the layer window. Do you see that? Turn it on and off. Look at that. Turn it on and off. Which one is which? If you didn't name it and you don't know what it is, you can turn the eyeball on and off. So the middle one here, I'm going to add a drop shadow. Now in your little handout down there, you'll notice there's one that says layer effects. The very bottom, the very last one in your handout there is called layer effects. Those layer effects are located, of course, in the layer window, and the effects are down here where it says FX. So if you want to add a drop shadow to this product, I can come down to where it says FX right there, and I can hold the mouse down on top of that, and you'll see there's all kinds of ones. We use a lot of these to simulate gradients. You'll see there's inner shadow, outer shadow, glow. The one I want to use is called drop shadow. So again, it's at the very bottom of the layer window. If I say drop shadow down there, it'll bring up this window. I might need to move it around to see it. Now this window is going to take a little while for you to get used to it, but some of the things, you have distance, and as you move the distance, you might be seeing it. You can see it over here. You can change the angle. You'll notice there's an angle. So distance, angle, opacity is how thick it is or how thin it is, size, and it gets blurry, and so on. So I just want to give it a kind of a slight kind of gradient. And if you look there, and now it has this kind of 3D look. It looks like it's even popping out again. So there's a bunch of layer effects. You can see them. You should try them, see what they do. Inner glow, stroke is very common. Bevel, emboss, and so on. So doing things like that is really a way of getting a little bit more style. That's why it's called layer effects to your product. So drop shadows are very important in a lot of ways. You can copy that effect to another one as well. What was the magic key on the keyboard to duplicate? What did I say? No, Option. I'm glad you guessed though. Okay, so if I want to, I love this shadow and I want to put it onto another product, right? I don't want to have to try and remember the settings that I just did, right? So I like this effect. You'll notice it pops up in the layer window. I want to apply it to another product. You can hold the Option and click and drag in here and drag right on top of this one. So watch how I do it. I want to duplicate an effect. Basically, the term is duplicate. I'm using the Move tool. Use the Move tool. Come over to the effects window. I don't even think you have to use the Move tool, but whatever. Hold down the Option key and click and drag the effect to another layer and release it, and it'll apply to the other one. So now this one has the same shadow as the first one. I do that a lot as well. So you can do that to all of them if you want. Let's talk a little, yeah? copy and paste. I don't know. This one. Sorry, I don't know what's wrong with the copy and paste. Maybe it's something the shift key is on or the escape key or something. Okay, let's talk about color correcting a little bit. Now I know these products look beautiful because I photographed them, right? But a lot of times you photograph things that are not quite correct, and so maybe the tool needs a little bit darker black. Because the black in the tool isn't very black. I may want to make the tool a little blacker. In fact, this one right here, this one I'm selling in Japan now. Okay, so here's what we did: is the American product actually has words here to describe what the tool's functions are. So we retooled it and started putting icons here because that way they don't speak English, of course. In Japan, they might not speak English. They know what it might do. Right? And just look at them. Oh, that's icons. So let me choose one of my products. I'm going to choose this one. This one right here. And I'm going to adjust the colors and adjust the contrast and all those. So in your handout down there, you have one that's called adjustments. You'll see it says levels, curves, highlight, and shadow. How you find those is you use those. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. If you want to zoom in when you're working in Photoshop, it's just like Illustrator, Command plus. In fact, that works inside of Sketch as well. Command plus, Command minus, Command plus, 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 minus, 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 Command plus, Command minus, Command plus, Command minus, Command plus. If you're zoomed in and you want to move it around, you'll hold the space bar down and you can move the window around. Space bar gives you a hand, and I'm using the left mouse to drag around. So when you're working in the computer, zooming in, holding the hand down, dragging around. Those are common things that you would do. So let's adjust the colors of this product. So in this case, yeah, this I should have taken a better picture of this. This is not the best. But if I want to adjust, the adjustments are located underneath Image, Adjustments. The ones that I use, so it's under Image, Adjustments. The ones I use mostly are Levels, Curves, and Shadow and Highlights. Those are ones I pretty much use on almost every picture I take. The problem with digital cameras is they don't take the picture perfect the first time. Levels is great, so let's first start with Levels. If you've never used Levels before, Levels is a very useful tool. Right now I don't really have a white in here. Usually if I have a photo that I've taken and I want something to be pure white, you can use the eyedropper here and click on your white area and it'll make it white. It'll adjust the colors and everything to make it white. But since this is not really a photo, let's just talk about this scale thing in the middle here. The scale thing is called a histogram. Okay, this is white, this is midtones, and this is black. So if I want this product to be a little blacker, because this is not black enough, I can grab the black and drag it that way, and you'll notice the blackness will get blacker, if that's a word. The black parts will get blacker. So if I click on this and drag this way, you'll see that the product starts going to, you would go all the way, look at that, woo! So if I wanted that, if I want the midtones to be a little lighter, I would grab the middle one and go to the left, and you'll see that starts brightening it up. If I want the whites or the highlights to be brighter, I can click on that and go this way. So a very common way, and if you hit the preview button, you can see before, after, before, after, before, after, before, after, before, after. So a very useful tool to increase or make your body better. See, I use that almost everywhere. See the levels? Try them. You guys got levels? Your adjustment levels. Make sure you're on there. And there's histogram.
Okay. I can have it all.
Well, no, it only changes whatever's on that the layer. If you want to adjust them all, you can actually use a layer adjustment. Nah, let's not go there today. Okay, so that's one way. Another one, I'm going to click on another product. Let me go this one. I'm going to choose a different product now. I'm going to choose the middle one. Now let's just say that the yellow is not, I want it to be oranger. In fact, I've been converting my products to be oranger than yellower, if that's why. Why? I don't remember why. There was a reason. But the products are starting to get a little bit oranger for, maybe it's the plastic or something. But I want this to be a little oranger. So if I want to adjust this product to be a little oranger, I can use the curves option. So if we go under manage, adjustment, I can go to curves. So let's try curves. It's the second one in your adjustment menu there. If I hit curves, you'll notice this is similar. It has a histogram, but it's a little bit different. The dot at the top is white, and the dot at the bottom is black, and it shows you a curve. But I can, and if you just use this curve as it is, it adjusts all RGB. But if I really want this to be kind of oranger, what I would do is not adjust where it says channel up there where it says RGB. I can choose just to adjust the red, right? Because I want this to be a little redder. I want to add more red to make this look orange. To do that, I can go and change in the curves. I can change, well, let's just try and see what it does first. Before I even do that, let's just, if I click in the middle here and move a curve up, you'll see what it does. If I move a curve down, you'll see what it does. It kind of does similar to the thing, levels. But to adjust the color, where it says channel up here, I'm going to change that to red. See, so you can actually change the channel there, and I can click and adjust a little bit more red, and you'll see. Well, the problem is the black starts getting oranger too, but we could adjust only. There's ways of fixing that, but I just wanted to point out that you can actually adjust the red and the green and the blue separately to give yourself some color corrections as well. So that's not a great idea, but let's just go with it for right now. Again, you can adjust channels separately and to give you different effects. So that was channels, or curves, I'm sorry, curves. And then the last one, I'm going to go to my last product here. My last product. And in this last product, I'm going to use the highlight and shadow. The highlight and shadow is great if you have a dark area that you want to bring brighter, or something that's overly exposed and you want to kind of make darker, because a lot of times if you overexpose an area, it's kind of washed out, where the highlight and shadow can bring that back in. So for the last product, I can go under image, adjustment, and the one that's listed there is called shadows and highlights right there. And you can see how it works. The shadow, if I turn the triangle up for the shadow, you'll see it makes the darker areas brighter. If you go to the highlights and turn that up, you'll see the brighter areas will get a little bit darker. The highlight's not as much as the shadow because this product's kind of black. But this is a good way of bringing detail out in an area that's dark, or adding more detail to an area that's too bright. So I use those on pretty much everything. So let's talk about saving because we're running out of time. So I made this beautiful graphic, and we only did it in an hour. But I think a lot of the things I talked about are things that you would use pretty much every day if you are working in some kind of design area. And so to save a working model of this, of course I want to save the Photoshop file, so if I have to go back and fix something, I can go and do that. And fixing things, you're going to do that all the time. You look how many versions of things I go through, you know, versions of this, versions of that. Photo, you know, Amazon, very picky on the pictures. I will send Amazon a picture, and they say, you need to get rid of the shadow. Get rid of the shadow. And so Amazon is very picky. So in this case, if I want to save this, I'm going to save a Photoshop file, which is basically a working model with all the layers and everything. So if I go under File, Save As, File, Save As, I can give it a name. This is going to be 3 products. Oh no, this was our hero image, right? Hero. And sometimes the working one I'll actually call working. So it just depends on how you name a file. If you work at a company, a lot of times they'll have a naming convention. The studio I worked at, all the files had to be named a certain way, right? The downfall is you need, in your brain, you need to start thinking about how you're going to save it, because throughout your years of designing, you're going to have millions of files, and they're going to be all scattered around multiple hard drives, and you're still going to have to find it. Sometimes I name things with dates. Right? Do you have
So why hero? Or why did you choose that one?
Oh, the hero is my hero graphic, because this would be at the top of my website.
Oh, okay.
Remember I talked about a lot of websites on the very first page of a website, you might see a slideshow or some kind of big graphic. They call it the hero image.
Okay.
So I'm going to hit save. And then just turn maximum compatibility is fine. And hold on, let's just look real quick. I'll show you what I mean by hero image. And we'll come back and save as a different format. So you'll see I have a giant photo right here on the back. Now we didn't get to make tints yet. Next week we're going to do tints, and we got a whole lesson on how to make the bluer look bit behind this image here. But this would be the hero image back there. So again, if I was going to put this into, let's say, an app, where there's a pretty big image, I probably wouldn't put it on an app, but a PNG is the format most likely I use for Xcode, which is the software to make an app on the Apple phone. If I was going to put this on a website, I would make a JPEG. The JPEG is usually a smaller file than a PNG. So if you're thinking of trying to save file size, memory-wise, a JPEG is going to be better than the PNG. The PNG usually has better, well, not nowadays. They both have good color, and we can learn about that later. But so let's save this as a JPEG. If you go under File, Save As, and I can go where it says Format, right here where it says Format, and I can choose JPEG. Yes?
So why would you not save it as a PNG for a website?
It's going to be a larger file.
Oh, that's
The PNG in general is going to be more kilobytes than a JPEG, because a JPEG I compress more. So that's the only reason why I use JPEG over PNG. But PNG works better in Xcode for an app than a JPEG. So it just depends on what you're doing the final image for.
The PNGs can do transparency.
Yeah. But if you want transparency on the website, you would use a PNG. Remember the transparency we were looking at? Yeah.
JPEGs can't do transparencies?
No. JPEG cannot do transparency. At least the standard one. Maybe a new version does.
What's the difference of a PNG and a bitmap?
Bitmap is an uncompressed image, and it doesn't.
Okay.
Yeah,
It's just, but you can do transparencies too, right?
I'm not sure on a bitmap. So let's save JPEG. I'm just gonna throw it on my desktop. There it is. Okay. And then to save as PNG, if you want to save this as PNG, you go under File, Save As, and you can change the format to PNG right here. And you can hit save there, and it'll ask you, do you want to compress it smallest to slow? I usually say none, and then I hit OK. Sometimes I've had compression problems with that smallest, so I usually say none. So that's sort of the three formats I use mostly. I use the PNG the PSD for working, right? And then I might use a PNG or a JPEG. If you want something that's uncompressed and you're a photographer and you're sharing it, you might still be using TIFF or something that's uncompressed. When I use the word compressed, I mean that the quality is being reduced in JPEG and quality is being reduced in PNG. So if you want to give somebody like a RAW, there's a term we use called RAW format. You can use the PSD, the Photoshop is fine, as well as a TIFF.
What about SVG?
The SVG would be used for vector, and so since we're inside of Photoshop and this is all bitmap stuff, I wouldn't use an SVG here. When we get to making icons and things like that, we're going to be using Illustrator, and I can bring the SVG right into Photoshop, and I can bring the SVG right into Sketch. So most of the graphics we make vector. Pictures like this will all be bitmap. So what is the difference? Well, the difference is the vector is an object that doesn't have pixels, that can be scaled to any size that you want, and it still looks beautiful, crisp and clean. Here, since these are made of dots, you know, you can't. We scaled them, but you know that's not. You know, if you zoom in, you'll still see it's dots, right? They're pixels. You can see them. Where the SVG will be just objects. So most of the artwork we make will be in SVG, or not just this, it will just be vector. So you're supposed to turn this in. Something you turn in next week. Or you turn it in today on Canvas. That was one of your assignments. So on Canvas, there's a submission. I know some of us are not getting it. I was at JPEG. Don't give me a PSD. JPEG. So there is a